So wholesaling is the assignment of a real estate contract. All right. So you might ask, what's Grid? Grid is a global real estate investment community. It's built by investors for investors. I'm a real estate investor. I love selling real estate. I'm a realtor as well, but being a real estate investor is my my hobby, and it's something I'm truly passionate about, and it's essentially a retirement plan for me. So I wanted to start a community for all of the investors we work with locally that can help each other, not only find deals, but partner and collaborate on deals as well, and learn from each other. So, not a guru. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I am here to strictly provide information and value. There's no programs, there's no courses, there's none of that. This is just, let's learn from each other and hopefully bring deals to each other eventually. Mission is to connect, learn from, and collaborate with like-minded people interested in building wealth and creating impact for real estate. So basically what I just said. We welcome investors of all levels. So if you have any investors that you're friends with, you collaborate with, and you'd like them to come, regardless if they're brand new or if they're doing, 50 flips a year or they own thousands of doors, the more people we can get, the more we can go over different levels of investing with people, the better off we will be. So just like anything, we encourage lifelong learners, people that are here willing to learn, willing to continue to grow. And we believe everyone has something to share, regardless of your level of investing. Grid is very large. So if you look it up on Facebook or you go on their website, there's 1,000 Grid communities. There's 2,000 leaders. I'm the Grid DELCO leader. There's been 10,000 people made financially free through the Grid communities. And, they're working with a lot of millionaires. There's 1 million members currently that are part of the Grid network across the country and across the world. And, we encourage involvement with each other because, again, the more people you work with, the more people you consult with, the more people you learn from, especially as an investor, the better off you'll be. So I'm sorry, my dog's in the background. I apologize. He's freaking out. One second. All right, there's an Amazon truck out front that will be gone shortly. I apologize for the background noise. So who are we? I am William Holder. I run the William Holder Realty team. We're licensed in Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. I run this group because I want to build a community of like-minded investments within the region, or investors within the region that are looking to invest in real estate, to learn about investing in real estate, to grow their portfolios, to become financially free through real estate, and hopefully surround myself with those people, right? They say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. And I want a bunch of real estate investor friends. So that's always the goal. Connect with me. Feel free to reach me at will@williamholderrealty.com or through our website, williamholderrealty.com, or on Instagram at the William Holder Realty team. My cell phone number is 610-657-6215. I'm easy to get a hold of and try to always have an answer. So this is kind of for everyone in the group that's willing to participate. I'll tell you a little bit about yourself. I'll start with me. I am currently a real estate investor. I have 63 doors throughout 19 properties. I've done about 10 flips. And I am interested in BRRRRs, which is the buy, renovate, rent, refinance model. It's pretty much everything I've done outside of my flips. All of the properties that I've purchased that I hold are BRRRRs, right? So if you ever come across a property that has sweat equity that needs work, those are the properties I look for. I don't look for turnkey investments. I don't love doing flips. If the right one comes along, I'll do it, but I prefer buy and hold properties. And I'm interested in constantly learning how to scale to larger and bigger deals, and hoping to benefit from that or partner with people within the group on deals. So we'll go to Tim. Tim, how about you tell us this stuff?
I'm Tim Aiken. I'm on Will's team. I've invested in the past. Currently, I don't have any. Tonight, I'm not really interested in doing wholesaling myself, but if I come across a client or basically if a client comes across a deal, just to know more about wholesaling and how exactly it works. Um, that's about it. You want anything else, or is that good?
That's good. That's good. Tamika, you want to share? No.
Hey
Okay.
everyone. Oh, I'm here. Hello,
Oh,
can you
okay.
hear
There you go.
me? I'm Tamika Parker. I'm on Will's team. I am currently an investor. I'm interested in like triplexes and anything larger than a triplex. I'm hoping to learn how to, I guess, get money for down payments or um how how to get loans and stuff like that. And I'm hoping to benefit by learning from everyone that's here.
Awesome. Awesome. Jess, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Way to put me on the spot there, Will. Um, I'm Jess. I don't know. I'm interested in learning more and getting my feet a little bit more wet within real estate investing and flipping and all that fun jazz. I guess you would say I'm an investor, right? Or what am I, Will? What? I only have two houses, I guess. Two, three. Yeah. Kind of same, like where can I get down payments from? Money, financial is always a big question for me. And there's so much out there and so much information that I'm not a accountant background. I'm not, a mortgager background. I work in healthcare. This is like what I do on the side. Same kind of prospect of this is my retirement. And I'm 41 and would like to retire in a couple years because healthcare is stressful.
That's awesome. And you do multiple types of investments. So you bought a house, knocked off the roof and added a second story all the way up, renovated, and then you have an Airbnb as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you dabbled in multiple types of rental properties and pretty
Yeah.
large scale renovations for someone
That was
just.
the first one. The
Yeah,
first, the biggest.
yeah, yep.
I
So,
don't think I would ever do that again.
well, never say never, right?
True. It was so stressful.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's fun.
First one, the first few usually it gets easier as you get used to the pain points. You
Yeah.
know, you tend to get used to the pain and it becomes less stressful.
And
um,
now that I have a carpenter in my back pocket, it
yeah,
makes it a little bit easier.
absolutely, absolutely. And Viv, did you want to share anything? No, okay. And I know that's Brandy's virtual assistant. So, all right, so we'll keep going. Important legal stuff. Don't sue us. All right. Anything we say, we're just giving free advice. Don't say Will told you to go buy $1 million property. All right. I didn't. All right. So the content we're also recording, going to use it on our social media. So just so you know. If ever bored and want to read this, feel free to read it. Again, release and notice we are filming this and we are going to use it on our social media, etc. Okay, so wholesaling. Wholesaling is the process of finding a good deal, putting it under contract, and selling the rights to that contract to another investor. All right. Wholesaling is generally viewed as the lowest cash needed to get into investing because you're not actually spending any money, right? You are finding a deal, however you find that deal. You're letting them know that you want to purchase the property, which your intent is to not ever actually purchase the property. And once they sign the contract, you're going to assign that contract to another buyer at a higher amount. And you're receiving an assignment fee in the middle. So, for instance, if you located a property that would be worth $100,000 after a $10,000 renovation, you could be confident that an investor would buy that property for at least $60,000. So if you can put the property under contract for $55,000, the same investor would be willing to pay you a wholesale fee of $5,000 for the right to settle under your contract terms. And, we'll go through the math on that. That's just more of like a light example of how a wholesale contract works. So you sign an agreement with the investor that assigns your rights to them in exchange for a $5,000 fee in this example. The average wholesaler makes about $20,000 per assignment contract. That's the average. Obviously, there's people making a lot less, there's people making more, but most wholesalers are looking to make a $20,000 fee on their assignment. They can then purchase the property under the terms of the original contract, just as if they were the original buyer. Quick formula to use to figure out how much an investor is willing to pay for a property you have under contract as a wholesaler is you take the after repair value, the ARV, you multiply it by 70% or 0.7, you minus the renovation costs, and that final number is a good purchase price for the average investor. The difference between that purchase price and the price you negotiate with the seller is your wholesale fee. So in this example, if you bought if there's a property with $100,000 ARV and you're coming down to 70% of that, which is $70,000, and you're minusing the renovation costs, let's say the renovation costs are $30,000. So then you can buy the property for $40,000, but you want to include your wholesale fee. So you go to an investor and you go to the seller and say, hey, I'll pay you $30,000 for this. If they agree, you then go to an investor and say, hey, I would like $40,000 and my wholesale fee is $10,000. And the seller agrees because or buyer agrees because it's a good deal. They'll do the deal. Question, is this legal? Yes. Your contract to purchase a property gives you an equitable interest in the property that you can sell. In most cases, just as if you own the property outright. The contract, the key to ensure that your contract is clearly assignable, right? Consult with an attorney or check with local laws regarding assignability. So normally what wholesalers use is called an assignment contract. They don't use a standard agreement of sale. In Pennsylvania or New Jersey, they use an assignment contract. They could use a standard agreement of sale, but they have to put on there that the contract is assignable. So they have to write that in when they're putting the buyer's name. They have to put the buyer's name or their assignees. And on the final page of the agreement, they have to write it in that the contract is assignable. In most cases, they'll just use a standard wholesalable or assignable contract. Any questions about that? Okay. Another question, do I need a real estate license? No, you do not need a real estate license to sell your own property or contract rights that you directly control. And This is common for my team, and I say it to real estate agents as well. Wholesaling is the opposite of a realtor's code of ethics. Your code of ethics as a realtor is to get your seller the most money possible for the property. It's your fiduciary right. As a wholesaler, you are trying to make an additional profit in between. So I do not recommend realtors to wholesale. I think it's not that you can't. I just think that it's not in alignment with your license and the ethics surrounding your license. Could you do it under a separate company? Could you do it as a partnership? Maybe, but as an agent themselves, I would not recommend you wholesale under your license. Where do I find buyers? So you're saying, okay, I'm going to go out, I'll find these deals, but where do I find someone to buy it? There's plenty of investors out there looking for deals. Just like at this grid meeting, you can build a buyer's list at networking events like this one. You can also discover that you'll also discover that a few capable buyers will take all of your deals that you can find. So really all you need is a few buyers that'll keep buying from you, right? You don't have to have this massive list of buyers. If you're a good wholesaler and you find a couple buyers that are willing to continue to buy those deals, that's really all you need. But what you will find is a lot of wholesalers have massive lists of emails that they send out all of their deals to, because they're trying to get as much as they can, and they're selling everywhere, so they're not really niching down, and they're looking for buyers everywhere. Do I have to buy the property if my buyer fails to perform? And how do I protect myself? The answer is not necessarily. A good assignment contract should give you the right to terminate for any reason at any time, so you're not stuck with the house. But we believe that any deal we wholesale is one we should be willing to buy ourselves. So try to be sure that your deals are good enough to prevent a buyer from having a reason for you to want to back out. All right. A lot of wholesalers get bad names or bad reputations because they put these properties under contract and they don't have a buyer. They can't find a buyer, and then they just walk away from the deal, and that seller is left hanging, right? And a lot of the times they're not truly transparent with what they were trying to do to the seller, and the seller is left in a bad spot. We would never want to do that. If you are a good wholesaler, you will be, transparent with your sellers. You'll let them know, hey, I'm trying to sell this contract. If I can, we will close. If I can't, then I potentially can buy it, and hopefully that's the case. If not, we have to discuss something else about the contract. Okay.
I got a question there, Will, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
In a normal standard agreement of sale, you cannot back out for any reason. So if they do use the normal agreement of sale, should you put that wording in the contract? And the assignment contract, is there wording in that contract that they can back out at any time?
Yep. If you're using a standard agreement of sale, you want to write in that additional verbiage to the agreement. If you're using an assignment contract, most of them have that verbiage built in. Which is why you'll mostly see assignment contracts used, because it gives the wholesaler an out in the event they can't purchase. It's a fine line. You want to be careful with not setting up expectations for that seller in the event you can't close. And this is why wholesaling is kind of controversial, because there's a lot of wholesalers that are trying to get into the business and they actually can't close on the deal themselves, and they leave a lot of sellers hanging. So you do want to be careful about that. And a lot of questions. The number one question people have about wholesaling is, how do I get paid? Your fee is entered as a line item on the settlement statement, or preferably it can be escrowed with the title company or an attorney with an escrow account and released to you at the time of settlement. So traditionally what you see, like in Pennsylvania, you'll see the amount the seller agreed to sell the property for, a wholesaling fee or an assignment fee, or sometimes they call it a contractor fee on the agreement of sale, and then the final price, not the agreement of sale, the settlement sheet, and then the final price the end buyer is willing to pay for it. So you're paid off of that line item on the settlement sheet. It's not considered commission. You will be, 1099 for it. It is income, is taxable income. This is all on the books. So that's how it's handled. How much money do you need to start wholesaling? And this is why I mentioned it's so, everyone that gets into real estate investing, especially if you don't have a lot of money, is usually they try to start in wholesaling because it doesn't require a lot of money. You can go knock on a door and get someone to sign an assignment contract and find a buyer for it by attending meetups. And all of that's free, right? So wholesaling is a low entry point in terms of financials, knowledge. You really don't need to know a whole lot outside of what's a good deal. And a lot of people get into it for that reason. Do I need to understand the renovation costs, ARV, or soft costs for a project to wholesale it? Not necessarily, but you should. The more you understand the business of real estate investing and how to identify a good deal and what an investor is looking for, the more credibility you will have as a wholesaler. So, just like anything, knowledge is power. If you're saying you're a wholesaler and you have no idea how to evaluate a deal, you're not going to go very far. You're going to fail pretty quickly. If you understand how to evaluate deals, how to evaluate a project, to know how much the renovation cost for a project is, to know what the closing costs look like, to understand what the property will be worth after the fact, then you'll be a more effective wholesaler. How do I handle settlement? Typically, we have our sellers and wholesale buyers close at different times. We usually don't attend settlement at all. However, you may want to utilize the traditional settlement with the seller and the wholesale buyer as your partner who will be working on the project. This is the norm. This is normally all the explanation that is necessary. Now, personally, the way I've seen it set up is the sellers in one room and the end buyers in the other, and keep them separate. That's usually how they prefer it, and that's how wholesale settlement goes down. I don't like the shadiness of it all. I think everything should be transparent. You should be telling your sellers exactly what you're doing. That's transparency is king, and it provides you from any possible legal repercussions. But a lot of wholesalers like to keep everything hidden, and because that's how they were taught, and to me, that's not the right way to go about doing it. Should I pull title on the property? Always. I never recommend buying a property without title insurance. And if you are, when you're signing a contract with a seller, always ask about the status of any liens, taxes, mortgages, probate. There's usually always something going on, right? Something affecting the property that you want to make sure you have that information on as soon as possible, so the title company can start looking into it, right? The seller has a legal right and verifiable equity to sell under the agreed upon terms. You want to ensure that they have that. So you want to make sure that you know what is going on with that property before you try to go out and sell it. Because if the seller agrees to a price of $55,000, but there's $100,000 in liens on the property, you might have done all of this work for nothing. All right, so the way I see wholesaling work and in our market is it's a lot of newer wholesalers trying to sell a deal, and they haven't done a title report and they don't know what's going on with the property, and usually it falls apart. And the reason that is because most people that are willing to work with a wholesaler just need to get rid of the property for some sort of reason that wholesaler might not be aware of. It might be a probate situation. They inherited the property and it wasn't handled correctly. They're trying to fight off a foreclosure and they want to close quickly. and they need a cash buyer, right? There's usually some reason for why they are trying to sell quickly. And you want to make sure you get to the core of that before you put them under contract. And now you have a contract that you can't even perform on because you didn't do enough homework to know if the property is actually sellable. So that's one of the biggest hurdles wholesalers run into, is that they don't have an actual property that they knew had free and clear title. And you can get it. You just have to do some work to get there, but you want to make sure you know what you're purchasing or what you're putting under contract so you can sell. So the idea of a wholesale is you find a deal, you get it under contract, and you sell the contract to an investor at a higher price before you ever have to actually close on that contract. And you get an assignment fee. Wholesalers are everywhere. If you ever see those signs, we will buy your house cash. If you've ever gotten a phone call or a letter in the mail saying we will buy your home cash, or we're looking for properties, or a voicemail saying, you know, we want to buy your property, 9 times out of 10, that's a wholesaler. And they're not actually trying to buy your property. They're trying to get you to sign a contract to sell the property. And then they are trying to assign that contract to make a profit. So understanding who they are, how they operate, helps you as an investor, but it's also a means of you potentially making extra funds if you ever wanted to go into that world. Now, wholesale is not something I'm super interested in. Because I'm a licensed realtor, I don't think I should be ever doing wholesaling. However, I have purchased homes from wholesalers for myself as an investor. And I know plenty of people that do, and they are a good way to find a good deal. So it's still part of the game of real estate investing. So I know that was short, I know it was sweet, but any questions about wholesaling? No? Okay. Well, that's the general summary of wholesaling. Do you guys have any questions about anything investor related or real estate investing related? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. Normally we have these in person. They're usually a bit longer, about an hour, hour and a half when we have more people over here in Swarthmore, but they're always via Zoom as well. So feel free to join us through Zoom, even if you can't make it in person. And I look forward to seeing you all at our next event next month.